we're ranking for like two things. First of all, consistency. Most important is consistency. And second most important is ease of playing. So the more consistent something is, the better it is on the tier list. And the easier it is to play, the higher it is too, but the consistency is the number one thing I'm checking for. So Evan High plays like PUTD. It's just, also need my music. There. It's just very centered around not dying and being able to tank the damage of the monsters. There's not really much mechanics to do. The bosses are pretty easy. So your defenses are very important there. Your damage is also pretty important because you will run into time issues on every job for this deep dungeon. So if you have low damage, you're gonna feel it. So let's start with Dragoon. So Dragoon is the melee with the best kind of armor. So even though you don't have a defensive, like straight up, you do have pretty good defense against just monsters like slapping you in comparison to the other melees, or the other DPS, I would say. You have the perks of being a melee, so that's like Bloodbath, Stun, both great defensive measures. You have Arm's Length too, great defensively. Anyway, so Dragoon defensively is like one is a pretty good defensively, at least as far as DPS go. Burst wise, it's also pretty good because it doesn't have to build up anything now with its burst, because it got changed pretty much. Pretty heavily, I would say, in Dawntrail. Now, whenever you want to go into your Nastron phase, you don't have to stack up to anything. You use your coastal, I think it's called, and then you just have access to it. It's great in Bloodbath too. Even better now because now you have it like instantly, right? Like you can do your Bloodbath instantly on a monster. Don't have to like carry 2 stacks or 1 stack from a previous fight and then go into it. That's pretty good. Now, I'm praising melee, but don't get it wrong, being a melee in MLI is not great. As soon as you reach like 76, monsters really kick your ass. In fact, you can fight almost nothing if you're not just like kiting or stagger kiting them a bit. If you have like a run where you don't find steals, because steal is the most important parameter for melee there. If you have runs where you don't have steal, it's very hard to make anything happen. Like it's the higher you go, the less options you're gonna start to have, and then on the last set you almost have no option. It's pretty nice on Dragoon though, because at least the options are like okay, don't hit you as much on Dragoon compared to the other DPS. So I'm thinking of like the Kyozos, stuff like the Kyozos, the monks if you have a steal. And like that's it, right? Like what can you even fight without steal on the last set? Like Kyozo, Shepti, and White Mage, but White Mage it doesn't matter because you're LOSing, and there's almost nothing you can fight. That's the melee life in the EVI. Like the last set, you better have resource for them, and you better have saved resource from your 81, which is nice to have like a higher defensive stat for. But yeah, being a melee is not an upside in MLI. It's not an upside. Like there is no way melee is godlike. There's no way melee is very strong. Like it's just out of the reach of these because the monsters just kick your ass too much, right? They just hurt way too much. I would say, like I said, I think Dragoon in comparison to before is a bit better. No, I don't remember where I put it before, but it's between average and good right now. Average is... I mean, it's hard to say where I put it because it's the very first job I'm putting. Because the melees, like I said, have no upsides in the MLI. They have Bloodbath. The thing with Bloodbath in MLI is that monsters hurt so much that it's unlikely your Bloodbath will, like, help you face tank the monster, right? Like, it's nice, but it's usually not enough to get you through a monster that you would need steal for. Like, let's say an Enko. Let's say I'm fighting an Enko. With steal, I can fight it on melee. If I don't have a steal, I can't really sub the steal for a Bloodbath. Like, maybe you can do it, but, like, it's not consistent. I don't think it's consistent to do something like that. So, the Bloodbath is just nice. Like, it's nice if you're fighting something that is no steal, and then you can't kite, right? Let's say I'm fighting a Kyozo. and then there's a patrol coming, and I can't quite move for the patrol. I can't quite move anywhere, so I have to like face tank the Kyozo. I think that's where Bloodbath is really good in Avalon High. Or the same with Steel, right? Like, let's say I'm fighting a... I don't know. Let's say I'm fighting a... an Enko. I'm fighting an Enko in the 80 set, and then I can't tie the Enko anymore, while I can Bloodbath to like help myself, right? And then you can stun too and everything, and faint. Dragoon has like the little lifesteal move, so that's like a bit helpful. It's not a huge deal though. And also you're never gonna AoE pull in the endgame with me well, any DPS, but especially not melee. So yeah, I don't know. Like, it's I'll put it in average for now. Maybe it's gonna get up and good, but I'll see once I have more jobs on the board, right, where they kind of settle. But I'll put it average for now just to get a baseline. So Ninja is a melee that has a kind of a bad Bloodbath, but I think Evil is the least important place to have a bad Bloodbath in. Ninja has great kiting potential, which is amazingly useful in Evil High, because if you can kite a monster for like a few seconds, but you don't lose damage for it, it's a massive deal, right? Like, you can delay the attack that's coming for like, I don't know, like 5 seconds, and then if you do that twice per fight, well, now you skip 4 auto attacks, which probably is your entire health bar plus some on the melee. So it's very good. Now Hide is also pretty useful to get past like monsters that are sight, and it's actually, I would say, amazing on the last set. Very, very good on the last set. Because the last set has super... First of all, it's claustrophobic as fuck, because the layout is very claustrophobic in Evil High. And there can be 4 monsters per room, and they're small. So it's hard to tell like where they're facing sometimes, or like how close you are exactly. And also there's a lot of monsters that are sight and you can't fight them, or like you should not fight. So like the Hide is actually kind of cracked there. Being able to reset your burst between pulls is also very nice to measure your time. It's just extra damage. You can do crazy things with Rayton, like Rayton resets on your Rayton resetting your Shukuchi, right? You can kite like a Mimic for a while or something. That's something melees don't have. They don't have an interrupt. The pots definitely sucks, but it's not the thing that is a deal breaker for melees. I think Ninja being able to kite, especially because Ninja has a defensive shield too. That's great. Also, Ninja got changed. It doesn't have to upkeep its attack speed buff anymore. It can also build up the kunai dodge or whatever, so it can carry a bit more burst on the next monster. So it can carry, like, it can do an easy monster and carry hella burst to the next one, which is great in MLI. Like, it's good. Is it very strong? It might be very strong, because I do think it has a lot of kiting potential. And Hide, if it didn't have Hide, I think I would be putting it good. But like, Hide is freaking nuts, dude. Like, because Hide, there's almost nothing proximity in the last set. Like, if you have Hide, bro, you can just, like, use only 291, you can hide and you can beeline the entire freaking floor, right? Like, you can just check the entire floor, see if you want to, like, Petri a treasure room or something. Which, by the way, I know this is not a score run, but I mean, there's still situations where you would Petri a treasure room. Or I guess a better example is you would, like, you just hide, take like 30 seconds, see if there's like 6 patrols on the floor, and then if there's 6 patrols, you just nuke it, rather than just fight something, and then you see like 4 Gozus coming on Dragoon, and then you're kind of like, I don't know what I should do. I think it's very strong, man. I think it's very strong. Now, is Ninja easier to play than Dragoon? Absolutely not, but I'll keep in mind for Evan High and PTD, ease of playing is second place, consistency is number 1, right? So even though I do think it's, because if this was EO, this might be something like that or even like that, but because consistency is changed, I think it's actually very strong. Very strong. I mean, it might get bumped down, but it's between these, it's like somewhere on these 2 tiers. I'll put it very strong for now. We'll see later. Monk is way easier to play now, so that's cool, I guess. Does not have the kit that gives you movement speed, which is kind of silly that it doesn't have it in MLI, because that would be the best place for it. But it only has it in EO, which is the least useful place for it, so that's too bad. It has one defensive on a long cooldown, but it has like squishy stats to tank the damage. Like it just gets damage more than Dragoon. I don't know in relation to Ninja. I don't know the difference between their armor types. I can't remember. But Ninja can kite so much that I didn't really factor in it too much. Monk cannot kite. It has no range attack. All it can do out of combat is it can get its chakra stacks back to do an OGCD when it enters combat. It's not great. And then you can do it in combat too, but you have to do it 5 times to get like 1 use. Monk can't kite from a cannot pull from a distance unless it faints, which I honestly don't think is a big deal in Evan High. You can almost always pull what you need to pull just by like face tanking it or just hitting it with your like a punch or something. However, its petrifications are like magnitudes worse than the other jobs. They're bad enough where you almost want to like safety when you petri or sight, but then you also need them for big rooms, so it's rough. It's rough. Like, it's a rough job. It's a rough job inside, man. Like, the bloodbath's good, but then again, like, even if the bloodbath's good, it's unlikely to save you from like having to use a steal if you gotta use one. Like, there's a lot of bad fights on Monk, dude. Like, you know, I'm just imagining I'm zoning on like 80. I can't fight a like. Well, I mean, it's the same for all the melees, right? I can't fight a monkey. I can't fight like. I can only fight like a Matanga, a Garula, a Garm. And then once I reach the Encros, there's no way I can do the Encro without a steal. That's the same for every melee, though. What about the last set? I mean, the last set is like a Kyozo. If I fight a Kyozo on Monk, I'm actually scared without a steal. Like, if I don't have a steal on a Kyozo, I kind of want to like Bloodbath. Whereas if I was playing Ninja, I would not be scared of fighting a Kyozo without steal. On Dragoon, would I be scared to fight a Kyozo without steal? Less than Monk. I think I'll do it like that for now. It's either this or this. But like subpar, I mean, Monk isn't good, right? Maybe it should be in subpar. It's really not good. I do think it's better than before. But like, having only a long cooldown defensive and your armor type is squishy is like it's like bad news, bro. Like, basically you gotta find steals, and if you don't find steals, you almost have nothing you can fight. Subpar. I'll do it like that for now. I'll do them like this for now, but this might shift around when we have more jobs. Okay, Samurai. Now, I need the help of chat. Do you have the new third eye in MRI? I think you don't, right? You do not? Okay. Samurai. I don't even remember the armor type of Samurai. I think it's average, right? It's like not as tanky as Dragoon, but not as squishy as Viper. Is that correct? I cannot remember. I mean, Samurai isn't great. It's not great. Same as Monk. It's the same as Monk. Okay, if it's the same as Monk, that would make sense because they're like close. So Samurai is basically the same issues as Monk, but it can actually pull from a distance and it can kite, right? Third eye is something. I mean, it's okay, right? You're gonna pull a monster, you're gonna third eye, it's Tank Buster, but then the issue is you don't have the third eye for the next Tank Buster, which might take you out with a crit. So, no, it's okay. You can build your stickers in a bit of in advance, and then you can build up like 2 mid arrays back to back. to use on a monster, which is good with Bloodbath. Like, would it save you from a steal? I still don't think it would. Unless we're talking frailty, right? Or like strength frailty or something like that. But if you just strength frailty, all the melees can handle themselves. And yeah, I mean, what does it have that it's a melee, Bloodbath, stun, etc. Third eye is not good. And it can't kite. Now the thing Samurai has that is great is its dashes are great. And it has like a dash forward and a dash backward. So what you can do is you can dash on the mimic. Like for example, let's say you open a mimic, you can run away from the mimic, dash on the mimic, and then go behind it and dash backward. And that has a pretty good chance to just skip all the auto attacks coming your way for a few seconds. So like that's good. And also if you do it, the thing that's good if you do it is it doesn't even lose you damage because it's Kenki neutral to use your dash. Like if you use your dash, it's the same Kenki per damage as if you use your Shinten. I think is what it's called. I mean, it's definitely better than Monk. Well, is it better than the Dragoon? Like, don't get me wrong, I would much rather play Samurai than Dragoon for fun, but like, you know, put a gun to my head and tell me, okay, you got it clear. Would you rather play Dragoon or Samurai? I would rather play Samurai. However, I don't think it's anywhere near Mount. So I think this is my order for now. Very strong Ninja, good Dragoon, average Samurai, subpar Mount. It made sense to me. It made sense to me. I mean, I don't think I'm not a melee enjoyer in the MLI. I mean, maybe there's some people that think melees are better than that, but I have lost enough runs as melee to tell you that if you don't find steal, if you don't find a steal, it blows, right? Like it blows play melee if you don't have a steal. Much more than other jobs. So next is Reaper. Reaper, I've surprisingly not played it that much in MLI. It has a great defensive. The shield is really good. And it's also a pretty short cooldown. It has pretty good damage too. I think it does more damage than the other melees because it's a bit busted at this level. It's not like insane, but it's a bit more than the other melees. And then everything about being a melee is the same. You know, Bloodbath isn't that great because monsters kick your ass so much. Like the dash okay. The dash is okay on Reaper. It gives you one free range attack, but then you can't like follow it up with more range attacks. That's the part I don't really like. Like most likely what you're gonna do is you're gonna dash. Like you're gonna kill the monster. You're attacking the monster. Okay, now you're at 60% HP. You're gonna dash backward. You're gonna ARP once. Then you'll move back during the GCD. You'll ARP a second time, but this one has a cast time, and now you're back in action, right? So it's really gonna save you from like one auto attack, maybe two. Its shield is really good, like I said. It has bad Petries. It's not monk tier, but it's pretty bad Petries because you cannot you have to cast time everything if you don't have a safety or a side running, or you have to like be on the edge of the room and then use your like your cones, right? I mean, it's not monk tier. Its damage is good and it has a good defensive. I think it probably puts it about as good as Dragoon. Like, I don't think it's better than Ninja. I know there's some very big Reaper enjoyers in MLI, but I don't think it's Ninja level. I don't think so. Yeah. That made sense to me. That made sense to me. Like I said, I haven't played Reaper that much, but I was never very impressed with its performance. Oh yeah, we get the range attack getting dodge now. That's new, right? In Dawntrail. That's pretty cool. I mean, is it cool enough to make it Ninja tier? Absolutely not, but that's pretty cool. So that is a small buff, yep. Because you're probably gonna pull every monster with that range attack too, so you're just gonna take dodge for free. Viper. I ran this job 2 times, I think, already. 2 or 3. I think 3. Something like that. This job blows, dude. Like, this job blows. It's It's Mount. Like, the defensively, you are Mount, but worse. Which is insane, because that's already so bad. You're Mount with no defensives. Now, it's very boring to play, but we don't... Fortunately, this doesn't rank anything in the tier list. Like, strength-wise, it's just not good. It has one redeeming quality. Your range attack is 200 potency rather than the usual 150 on melees. So if you have to chite, you're doing a bit more damage than everyone else. And you will have to chite because you can't tank anything, right? Like, you're gonna rely on the steals like crazy. Your Petries are okay. Pretty normal. And you're never gonna AoE, so all that AoE bullshit doesn't matter. Now, Viper got changed after I did it, because before I did it, it was quite clunky. Sorry, before it got changed, it was very clunky. You had to keep a debuff on the monsters, but then your debuff is the first part of your combo. So then you had to make sure the monster would die before your combo was restarted, but then it's like out of your control if it would, right? So basically, every monster, you had to like plan for it, and it was a pain. Now you don't have a dot anymore. Not a dots or a debuff. That's great. However, you still... Like, whenever you do your 1, 2, 3, you have like an OGCD to use at the end of it. And that OGCD, if you don't use it, you're gonna lose it next time you pull something. That's annoying. I don't think it really changes the strength, though. I just wanted to rant about it. Either way, it's not Mount level. I think only because its Petries are not like so terrible. But it's not Reaper level. It's like... It's an average... Nah, dude, like... It's between these two. Like, it's... Like, is it as good as Samurai, right? Like... Like, Samurai has mobility. Samurai has mobility, a shitty defensive, but a defensive nonetheless. Also, Samurai has more bursty Bloodbath, which is better than consistent Bloodbath like Viper. Also, Viper, the other thing is Viper can bring 0 burst. Yeah. I think I'll put it there. Viper can bring 0 burst to between fights. Like, so like... Well... You can keep your cooldown like the... What is it called? Like the thing you have 2 stacks of, right? Dread Winter, I think it's called. So yeah, I mean, Viper cannot bring any cooldown. That's right, any burst. It can just keep its 2-stack Dread Winter, like between... It can bring the 2-stack Dread Winter to like a different monster, but that's it. You think Viper below Monk is also fair? I don't know. Below Monk? I don't think so. Like, your Petries are not a nightmare to use. And you have... well, and that's like really the big thing, right? Like, when you're fighting a monster, these are kind of the same. Well, it is below Monk. Oh, I'm not ranking within the rows. The rows are all the same, or like close enough where I don't care. So right now I don't... This doesn't mean that Viper is below or above. They're just they're just like they're buddies. They're buddies on the same row. I think it's about the same as Monk. Like, it's not... I don't think it's weaker than Monk, but I don't think it's on the level of Samurai. It, like, if anything, it's like a bit better than Monk, maybe. I would say it's like a bit better, right? A little higher. But very close. You don't need good Petries if you're not scarring? No, I don't agree there. Because if... Let's say I'm Monk, right? And I have a Gloom... I don't know. Let's say I have a Gloom 93. And then there's like, you know, like 3 patrols or like something, right? It's like a bad floor. If I Petri, I can usually clear 3 rooms on a job normally. If I don't have time to prepare the Petri, right? A raw Petri is usually a 3-room clear. On Monk, this is like a 2-room clear, because on Monk, you can't go in the middle of the room unless you safety with it. So like there's either things you can't kill, or what you have to do usually is you have to like Petri. Now you have to get in combat with something but not kill it. And then if you're in combat and you don't kill the thing, then you have your all-in fist ready, which is a 10 yard. and then you can Howling Fist something in the room. But then the issue is that when you're doing that, you can't keep running, because now you still have to kill the thing you aggroed, right? At the beginning of the Petri. It's a mess. Even if you're not scoring, the Petries are very unpleasant on Monks, trust me. They're unpleasant enough where like they actually hurt, because like really, if I'm gonna Petri on Monk, even on a clear, I'm gonna safety 5-3 every time. It's just like too bad without it. Other than Ninja, you would put all the melees below average. I mean, I don't even disagree. I think these are... I don't disagree, but I'll probably, like, you know, whenever I'm done with the jobs, and at the end I'm just kind of like checking where they go, it might be where I lowered them. But I do think this general order makes sense right now. Like, I do think Dragoon Reaper about the same strength. I do think Monk Viper about the same strength. I do think Samurai is below Dragoon, above Monk, and I do think Ninja is better than all of them. But we'll see at the end if we like shift the... Basically, if they all shift down one, right? We'll see. Okay, so range GPS. So this is my worst style to play. I'm the worst. This is my... I'm just the least... out of all the styles, this is my least good. So I'll try not to let my personal bias affect the placement there. But let's say Bard. Let's see. Bard is a low damage DPS. Low damage sucks. I mean, it sucks for sure. Bard got some changes in Dawntrail, and by some I mean that the songs now are not... They don't need a target. So if you're done a song, you don't need a target. However, you might think that that makes a difference, but it doesn't, because you need to be in combat to do it still. So it doesn't really affect anything. All it really means is you lost the 100 damage on your songs. Overall, I don't know if it's like costing you damage or like gaining you damage over the course of a run, because they buffed the Bloodletter by, I think, a few potency. It's probably very close to before, damage-wise. Now, having an interrupt is nice on Mimics. Being a range DPS is also nice in Evil Eye, as long as you've got like a nice place to fight in. You can kite monsters. You can kite monsters around the room. It's rare that you can kite the way you would in POTD in a straight line. But like usually what you're gonna do is you have a room that's clean and you're gonna pull something in the room, and then you're just gonna run in circles around the room. Now, what I don't like about this personally is I have never found this to be consistent. So like if I pull a Mimic and I start running around the room, I know it's gonna cut the damage by, I don't know, let's say 50%, but I don't know if it's gonna make it skip 3 auto attacks, you know, like, because like what might happen is I'm kiting the Mimic, and then every time I turn the corner, he misses, he doesn't attack me 3 times in a row, but then after that, he attacks me 3 times in a row, right, which kills me. So I've never found the kiting to be that reliable personally, and when you're running in circle at least. Now you can slow monsters, and this is where my this is where you might be wondering how I even omni cleared, but I don't actually know what you can and can't slow that well. But like I said, you rarely will kite in a straight line, but even if you slow something, you're not killing that thing in 20 seconds on Bard. It's never happening. And overall, I think it means the job isn't as good as it could be. Like, it's low damage, it's quite squishy, and monsters will like get to you and they will like start attacking you. And also, like, you can't pull everything, right? Like, let's say I have a spawn room and then I have to go like really far. I can't necessarily clear every room between me and the key, because like if there's new people warriors, well, I'm not killing them, right? So now as I'm skipping through that room, now I don't have room to kite anymore, and that becomes like really unpleasant. Like, honestly, Bard very strong, no way. Is Bard good? Like, man, you might be right. We might have to shift all the melees down, because personally, I feel like Bard's average. But like, oh yeah, buff removal on Bard. It's nice on what monster actually? What monster debuffs you in a? Oh yeah, the dot. It's nice on the mounts, right? It's nice on the mounts and the Shinzais. And the Unreals, I guess Unreals though it's not that bad, right? Yeah, that's pretty nice. That's true. I forgot about this. This one is rough to rank, man. It's like, because I don't know if I want to say it's worse than Dragoon. Like let me think about it, right? Okay. I start a run tomorrow. I'm doing it on Bard. Like, how likely do I think I am to clear? I run Dragoon, dude. I think I run Dragoon. So yeah, okay, maybe this made sense. Maybe this made sense then. Like, would I run Monk over Bard? Absolutely never. Would I run Samurai or Bard? I think they're close. I think they're close. Let's put it there. Maybe it makes sense. Maybe it makes sense. Now, Machinist is all I said about Bard, except it has higher damage. And it has much higher damage, in fact. And it has way better burst. And the fact that your burst is way better means that there's actually a hope that you can kill a monster before it actually reaches you. If you have like a lot of room to kite and the frailty especially. Oh yeah, 8 Blast got an upgrade in damage. I mean, I think Machinist is actually like much better than Bard just because its damage is much better. Now, I personally, my bias on Machinist is strong because I do not enjoy playing the game and I suck at range DPS. But even then, there is no way I would run Dragoon over Machinist. It has to be at least very strong. Is it godlike? Impossible. Nothing can be godlike. That is not a thing. But is it as good as Ninja? Is making me hesitate. Would I rather clear Machinist or Ninja? They're close. I think I would rather clear Ninja, but I think it's my personal bias. I think I like it there. I like it there. This made sense to me. So, Dancer is everything I said about Bard, but I think it's worse. Because now from having done like many runs, I can tell you that the dance moves are a fucking nightmare on Dancer to keep track of. Because when you're on the last set and there's like a room with 2 new Pepos warriors behind you, and there's a room ahead of you with like two jackies, and then there's like a Gozu coming, well, you know what you're gonna do? You're gonna camp your fucking Dancer ass in a corner. And you're not gonna be able to do like anything because you can only auto attack that does like no damage, right? It's bad, dude. Like, I don't think this is a good job. Like, it has no upsides. It can technically like keep a lot of its burst ready for a monster, but then the issue is you are a low DPS job, so even if you do that, like, I don't know if it's enough. High bias, I guess. Physical range jobs detected. I'm trying to abstract the bias there. Maybe I'm still biased. I mean, I put Machinist in very strong. Dancer Petri is very good, yes. However, I think Petri being very good is not really a big deal for clearing. I think Petri being bad is a big deal, but I don't think Petri being good is a big deal. So you say mobs 91 just can't touch you. Monk, Kyozo are free, for example, without steal. Monk is free? Really? You can do a Monk on Dancer? And you're not... don't you just die if you like get 2 tank busters on you? 2 of the triple hits? Oh, you can bind the Monk too. I mean, that's cool. Like I said, I don't find kiting reliable. Like, if I pull a Monk and I run in circles around a room, unless I kill it within 30 seconds, I'm not confident. I'm not confident that once my sprint wears off, that it will actually like not attack me enough times, right? That's why I rank Machinist very high, because I feel like Machinist, you're probably gonna kill most monsters within like 30 to 40 seconds. So like you're gonna like sprint, and you're gonna like your slow's gonna expire, and then it's gonna die. But if it dies in 50 seconds, I think that 20 seconds is I don't like the 20 seconds of kiting circle. I don't find it very reliable. But maybe I am convinced that I could put it in average. I don't think it's good. I still don't think it's good. But I can be sweet talking to put it in an average. I think the fact that you have to keep track of like the AoEs is bad. Because like often what that leads to is you just can't use them. Like that is often the result of is you can't use your AoEs, and your AoEs they're like great damage, but also your boss. So like if you can't use them, it's even nerfing you more. I mean, like let me say that. Let me put it that way. Would I rather clear Monk or Dancer? I would rather clear Dancer. But not by much. Like, not by much. Not by much. But would I rather clear Samurai or Dancer? I would rather clear Samurai. Would I rather clear Bard or Dancer? Probably Bard. It's like almost deserving of being between, right? I'll keep it in average for now. Keep it in average for now. So that was the last range DPS. Top of subpar. I mean, I could it could be there, but I'm not ranking on the rows themselves. So, because if I do, it's gonna be too hard to like. I'm never gonna decide like which goes where, right? So I'm only ranking within the rows. I think it's closer to this row than it is to this row, but maybe I'll change my mind at the end. Who knows? Alright, casters have sleep and extremely squishy stats. They're probably the worst thing to tank monsters at all. Very reliant on steel, but they can like sort of kite. And they can sleep. Sleep has its uses. Sleep has its uses, but it's not as good. Well, it's not as good because I feel like when they did Even Eye, they made less things sleepable in PUTD overall, but also because you can't really unaggro things in Even Eye reliably, right? In PUTD, if I sleep something, I can usually unaggro it by running far. In Even Eye, it's way harder to do that. Anyway, we're starting off strong with Black Mage. Black Mage got much worse, in my opinion, for Even Eye. Your Thunder now is really bad. And so your kiting kind of suffered for it, and kiting is so important in Even Eye. Now your mana regen is better. Your mana regen is better, but... And in PUTD, honestly, it felt like it was overall the same difficulty. And to be fair, I have not run in Even Eye yet since the changes, but I feel like the mana regen... Losing the Thunder procs doing damage is a bigger deal in Even Eye because you have to kite so much, right? Now, just because what's gonna happen usually, like you said on the 81, like usually the classic Black Mage fight is gonna like you pull the monster, and then you're gonna like do a few GCDs, and then once you're out of instant cast, you're gonna sleep the monster, you're gonna gain distance, be full health, and then you can unleash a few more casts, and then you just sleep again, right? Get into that kind of sleep loop. However, if you don't have a steal, many of them will one-shot you with crit auto, and you can't swift cast every sleep. Like if you sleep, you'll get attacked once during it. So then if you wait to sleep until you get attacked once, like if a monster runs up to you, attacks you once, and then you start to sleep him, well, he's gonna attack you a second time, and if either of these crit, you're dead, right? Without steal. At least for Even Eye specifically. Like Black Mage, what does Black Mage do well? It does good damage if it doesn't have to move, which is almost never. It can like sort of kite with Leyline, but like now your Thunder sucks, so I don't know. It's like it's weak, right? It's like would I rather clear Black Mage or Monk? I would rather clear Monk. It doesn't have bad pet trees, but even despite this, I think it's there, dude. Like this is not a good job. Even fighting a Kyozo on Black Mage kinda is scary. Like the Kyozo is gonna be like you're gonna like sleep it 3 times to have a strength or a steal. I do think it's worse than Viper and Monk. It's not good. It's not good. Sorry for Black Mage enjoyers. Like even if you have a run where you find like a lot of steals, even then, there's monsters you don't really want to like mess around with too much. Like, even with Steel Strength, I would be scared of finding a Kubineshi, I would be scared of finding a Jinba, I would be scared of finding a Gozu. I would be scared of finding a Monk. Yeah, like, it sucks, dude. Almost crap tier, in my opinion. But I'll keep it in wheat for now. Yeah, and you lost Sharpcast, you lost even more, like... Because that's what was nice before, is your dot was strong, and you could, like, stack up a few uses back to back, right? Now your dot just... You get your dot, like, more consistently, but it sucks. It's not a net gain. It's not a net gain. Let's put it there. Okay, Summoner. This one is interesting. This is a job I put Godlike last time. It's really strong. And it's strong because it's unbalanced at this level. It has crazy potencies. However, I think I went back from my high from last time. I don't think I would put in Godlike now. Even though it's technically not any different than it is before. Because the damage is funny as hell. It feels great to do that crazy damage. But you're still a DPS, dude. Like, you get any Gloom floor. Or like, you get any point of the run where you don't have a steal and you don't have like a strength or something. And then you just feel it, right? Like, you can kite pretty well, but you're still... I mean, essentially what I'm saying is I feel like you're kind of like a machinist that does more damage. But cannot kite as well, and you know, like, you do crazy damage, yes. But like, honestly, would I say that I would clear more often on Summoner than Machinist? Like, I don't know. Now, Ninja is weird, because I feel like I would clear way more on... Well, I don't know, actually. The height for Ninja is great. I don't know. I don't think it can be Godlike. Like, the damage is insane. And the fact Summoner 2, the thing that's really nice is... the thing that's really nice about Summoner is your entire kit is cooldown reliant. There's no, like, building up anything. And because you don't have to build up anything, you can just go from monster to monster. You can, like, take a few seconds to do something else between pulls. You never have to, like, build up any resource between pulls. Man, it's hard. It's hard, right? Like, I almost feel like these two should be like... Oops. I almost feel like I need another tier. I'm gonna make another tier. I feel I need another tier for MLI. Like, it's too weird. Let's call it amazing. I think these have to be there. Because Ninja is definitely better than Dragoon on a significant margin, but it's definitely weaker than Machinist and Summoner. I think Machinist, I tricked myself into thinking was the same because I'm not good at Machinist, but it's definitely weaker than Summoner. Like, if you ask me if I want to clear Summoner or Ninja, there's no shot. Like, there is no shot I choose Ninja over Summoner, right? Like, the height is nice. And very strong. That's why it's very strong, but I like it more like that. Like, you're still a melee. You're a melee that can kite well on Ninja, but you're still, like, if you get a Gloom floor, it's not like you're gonna Strength Frailty and fight the monster, you know, without steal. Let's put this... Now, all my colors are fucked up, man. Yeah, amazing is purple. Let's switch this, actually. This is now purple. This is now red. So the reason I think Summoner is that good in MLI is because your damage is actually absurd. So, like, the time management is almost non-existent on Summoner from my own experience. I've done 81s where I don't even use a single floor wipe and still have like 10 minutes at the end. It's insane. And second reason is the damage is so high that there's actually some monsters that you kind of like unlock the ability to do if you have a strength. Like, if you have a strength frailty, you can kill literally everything in the... I think you can kill anything on any set without steal. Like, I think you could even kill a Gozu as long as you LOS the charge properly. But like, if you just have a strain, there's like some things that become pretty consistent and possible, right? I don't know. Like, I've run Summoner a few times. It definitely it felt strong. It didn't feel as strong as the tanks, but it felt, personally, it's the strongest job I've played that's not a tank. Like, that's the way I would put it. Like, for me, it's better than Machinist, but I think my inexperience on Machinist kind of dumps it down. Like, think of it this way. Whenever I'm playing Machinist, I really don't utilize the slow that much. So I'm essentially playing a Summoner with less damage and interrupt, right? I don't know. I like it there. I think I like this way more. This configuration way more. Let's move on then to Red Mage. So Red Mage is a caster squishy. It has Virtue, but then that's tricky because you can't really face tank a monster and just Virtue your way out of like misery. You're still gonna, right? You especially, you can't like skip a steal, right? Like, it's not like, oh, I have a heal, I'm gonna kill an anchor with no steal. Ain't happening. Because you're gonna get one shot from like crit auto. The heal is still nice though. It's still nice, especially if you couple it with sleep, right? Like, it's more a thing you're gonna use when you have a steal already. Like, you're gonna fight, I don't know, like you have a steal, you're fighting a, what's a good example? You're fighting a Shinzei maybe, and then the Shinzei like crits you, and then you sleep it, you Virtue yourself back up. And now you were able to do that way faster than Black Mage and Summoner, because though you never sleep on Summoner almost, but that's another reason, by the way. I didn't even mention that on Summoner. If you burst hard, you can still quick cast sleep, go far, Ifrit, and then burst again, right? Anyway, I've never done that, but you could. So anyway, the sleep is nicer on Red Mage, because you can just do it faster because you can Virtue. And during the fights, Virtue is useful sometimes. Don't get me wrong. I'd say it's mostly useful if you're like still tanking something and you can't kite. Like, for example, I don't know, let's say you're fighting a new Pepo Monk and then you have to hide because there's like a patrol coming and you can't kite and it's bursting you. Well, if you're any other caster, you would die. But then if you're Red Mage, you can probably face tank with Steel and spamming Virtue, right? So that's nice. Gets you out of tricky situations. Its damage is like, it's not bad. I mean, it's good damage, but I mean more like the way it does damage, the way its burst works. You can build up a lot of burst. The issue is that your burst, you need to be in melee for it. And like, if you're in melee for, you know, like 4 seconds on the monster, it's more like 3 seconds, but that's like 2 autos. That's like a huge chunk of your HP. So like, whenever you have to kite, but you want to burst you have to like go back in melee and then do it. Now your dashes are very nice to avoid the auto attacks though. Also the Virtue can save you on some no item situations. There's definitely no item floors you could do on Red Mage that you could not do on most DPS, though they would be slow. Overall, kind of hard to rank it. I feel like I feel like it's probably better than Dragoon and Reaper. I like, there's no way it's on the level of Dancer and Bard. Is there a way it's on the same level as Machinist and Summoner? Huh, I'm actually hesitating. I mean, nah. I think it's Ninja level. It's actually not that bad. Like, it's squishy caster, but can abuse sleep, can abuse Virtue. However, your Virtue is not like a steal skip, so like, just keep that in mind. Like, if you pull an anchor with those steals, he's gonna kill you. It can be a frailty, a steal skip if you do a frailty running. Though if you have a frailty, you probably want to damage the thing. It's just nice to have Virtue, but it's just like, you just have to keep in mind your Virtue does not prevent a steal from being used. Like, if I open a Mimic on the last set, I can't stand there and just Virtue myself and be like, oh, I'll wait until the next box. That doesn't work. Especially because you're gonna get interrupted if monsters start attacking you for a lot of damage. I don't know. Between good and very strong. Like, I mean, again, ask me Gun to my head, would I rather clear Dragoon or Red Mage? Red Mage. Would I rather clear Ninja and Red Mage? Actually, very close. Actually, very close which one I would want to clear. So let's put in very strong. Alright, Picto, a big boy. So Picto is quite strong in all the deep dungeons. However, I think it's at its worst in Evan High. So in Evan High, here's the issue with Picto. Picto is amazing to build your burst out of combat. And then just kind of like unleash hell on the monsters. And that works, it's kind of OP until you reach like 76, floor 80 or so. But then it falls off hard, starting from 81. Because what happens on 81 is you can't quite burst everything in one like cycle. And so what that means is the monster will be left with like, I don't know, like 20%, 30% HP. But then here's the issue. This job, when it has no burst, is like Black Mage tier. Like, when you've got no burst left on Picto, you have to cast everything. And if you did the mistake of pressing your color palette, you have to hard cast Fire Force, essentially. The only thing you've got that Black Mage doesn't have got going when you've got burst, when you don't have any burst, is your Smudge is amazing. Like, your Smudge move, your dash, very strong to, like, get basically some distance. Also, you have sleep, so you can still abuse sleep. But I don't think it's that good, dude, in Evan. Like, in relation to, like, it's not God tier, it's not God-like, it's not amazing. I would rather run Summoner or Machinist than Picto. Not being able to kite properly in the last two sets it sucks, bro. Like, trust me, if you did Picto up to, like, 80 and you thought it felt godlike, I also thought it felt godlike. It's like once you reach 81, it's like dude, it's like a switch, right? It's like it's way different than before. Way different. And the same thing happens in POTD. It's just in POTD it happens late enough where it's okay because you probably have like a lot of pumps to deal with it. But in Evan it happens like 81. As soon as you reach 81, it happens. So like, you know, like, would I rather run Picto than Samurai? Hell yeah. Like, there's no way I think I would clear more on Samurai. Picto versus Dragoon? Yes. There's no way I would clear more. Picto versus Ninja versus Red Mage? I think... I'm surprised they're all in very strong, but I guess my very strong is kind of high now because I added a tier, right? Like, technically, everything should be shifted... It's kind of... I'm kind of tempted to shift everything down one. Honestly. Like, Black Mage crap, Monk weak, Viper weak, Samurai subpar, Bard Dancer subpar. I don't know, let's keep it like that for now. I think whatever it is, this is on the same tier as Ninja and Red Mage. And even then, I'm not sure. Because I'm thinking about it. Like, the last 20 floors suck, dude, on Picto. Especially if you get a Gloom or something. Also, you don't have great Petries on Picto, but I don't think they're bad enough where it matters too much. Because you do have okay Petries as long as you prepare your things for them. Just up now while my mains are on top, don't hurt my feelings. Yeah, bad news for you. I got bad news for you, we got some strong contenders coming up. Which one is it closer to? Is it closer to Reaper or is it closer to Red Mage? Oops. Because the thing about Picto, it's a bit special because if I have strength on Picto, I can do things no steal in like the early 80s, right? However, that's not true for like Dragoon. Like, if I have a strength on Dragoon, it doesn't really let me do like monsters that I would need a steal for usually, but on Picto you can get away with some strength and frailties more. But then, is it on the level of Ninja and Red Mage? I feel like Ninja, yeah. I'm hesitating about Red Mage, man. Maybe it should be amazing after all. I don't know. Nah, I'll keep it there. I'll keep it there. I'll keep it there. I don't think that Picto's amazing. I don't think... It's like between these two. It's like between these two, but I think it's a little more nudge towards the up there. The upper area. So let's do that. So yes, no godlike Picto, unfortunately. Alright, tanks are amazing in the... sorry, in Evil Eye. Because tanks, the biggest downside of Evil Eye is that damage is insanely high. And that downside is pretty much deleted when you're playing tank. So tank, in exchange for that, they have to manage their time. They have to manage their time better, right? So that is the downside of playing tank. However, like what ends up happening is that because you don't have to be picky with your fights on tank as much, then all the time you save by not being picky just kind of makes up for it. And then your palms, you're able to use them to get time rather than use palms because you need them to survive, right? Like usually on DPS, like you're gonna petri or match site or steal because the situation demands it. On tank, you're more free to use them just for like pure time gains, right? If I flight 82 and it's gloom, well, I don't necessarily have to serenity. I don't necessarily have to petri. Like, you know, I can decide more what I want to do. Also, the thing that's nice for petri specifically is you can actually like because you know, if I'm gonna petri a gloom floor on like Dragoon, well, as soon as I pull something, I must petri, and even then it might be too late, you know? Like if I pull a Grozu in gloom, it's even too late to petri, I'm dead. But if I'm playing tank, I can be ever so slightly more greedily checking chests, you know? Like I can like take greedy turns around the corners because I know if I pull like a something, I can tank it for like 10-20 seconds before I have to petri. So and it's kind of true for like every pump. I feel like every pump on tank, you're able to like squeeze a little more juice out of it overall. But anyway, back to tanks. So tanks are amazing because they're very tanky. And they have an interrupt, so that's even better for mimics. So they don't even have to deal with the mimic damage debuff, right? And that makes tanks just great. So specifically, warrior. Also, they have a stun that is a 25-second cooldown, but lasts 5 seconds. So, but like that's like a defensive for them. They have just a shit ton of defensives, right? Including the stun. So Paladin is really good. Paladin is the only thing that can kite while it's doing like a lot of damage too. So that's just good because it's gonna save you like some amount of time there and there. Like for example, I don't know. Like for example, you have to move because there's a patrol coming. Well, on Paladin, you're able to just do like range damage while you're doing it. Interestingly enough, unless this has changed, but I don't think it has. You can, whenever you're not in your burst phase on Paladin, you can actually spam your Holy Spirit like damage move. Is it what it's called? Like whichever one is the single target one, right? And it's actually barely a DPS loss. So even sometimes what I would do on Paladin is if I had to move a bit for a chest, I'll just use a single target spell while I'm slide casting, as if I was a caster, just so I can gain some distance. So overall, all of these small like things are just a time gain. Because you can gain more time on Paladin than the other things just by the fact that you're able to like kite a bit with the monsters on you. Invuln of Paladin is also very nice. By far the easiest one to use. If you're gonna do like the landmines, and you will do the landmines, right? Because tanks I would say have to do the landmines if they want to get a clear. That's pretty easy. So you're gonna do the landmines on all of them. Tank and Vuln are great for them, and Paladin and Vuln is amazing, especially if you're like beginner. It's amazing. However, it's a long cooldown. Just something to keep in mind. I will also mention Clemency. I think that doesn't... I know people, they like to meme on Clemency because it's a GCD heal, but I think Clemency is actually very good. It's like Virtue. It's like a Virtue, but it's you have the Virtue on a job that actually has the HP pool to survive like more than 2 attacks, you know? So like, if you ever have to Clemency, you can afford to do it. Like you have time to do it. And you can even make your Clemency instant cast by sacrificing a bit of DPS. If you so wish. It's great, dude. I think Paladin, godlike. Honestly, easiest godlike of my life. I think if you play this, I think if you play optimally every job, I think this is the best job to clear on. No joke. I think it's the best job to clear on if you play every job perfectly. Like if you put a gun to my head and I had to choose a job to clear, guaranteed I would choose Paladin. So I don't know why there's like people say its damage is bad, but it's not. I don't know why where that came from. Like in comparison to the other tanks, all the tanks do pretty similar damage there. They do only small differences between each others. So godlike. Personally, I think the strongest job by a little bit. So now let's look at Warrior. Warrior is also very good. Everything I said about tank is true. Warrior also is as a raw intuition. It's a 25 cooldown that heals you whenever you hit something, and it heals more if you're doing AoE pulls. You're probably not going to be doing AoE pulls too much outside of landmines, but it's a lot of healing still on like just single target. Kind of makes no item floors like... I don't know if it makes them more easy than on something like Paladin, because Paladin can have like a lot of clemencies in backup. Warrior just has a lot of healing, but either way, like the no items are quite nice with this job. The healing also lets you get away with fighting some truly awful like gloom monsters. And also Warrior's Burst is nice because inner release doesn't need you to... It's not like Berserk in POTD. Like you don't need to build up anything to use it. So whenever it's up, you just pull something and then you kill that thing. And it has the shorter invuln, I think. It's a good invuln as long as you remember to macro it, so it doesn't like feel clunky. It's a good invuln. It probably means you can use the invuln on the more landmine floors, because that's probably where you're gonna use it. Invuln is also pretty good on Petries, by the way. Like if you're ever doing a Petri or a match site and you want like a bit more time to get more chests, the invulns are great for that. But either way, this is another godlike job. Dark Knight. Again, everything I said about tank remains the same. Dark Knight has an amazing invuln. An amazing invuln because it's the invuln that is... Basically it's the invuln that is the safest to use. Because let's say I'm gonna invuln on Warrior, and I don't know when I'm dying exactly. I'm probably gonna invuln with a few seconds of like of time, right? Like if I think I'm gonna die within 4 seconds, I'm probably gonna invuln when it's like 5 seconds away, and then I'm gonna like quote-unquote waste 5 seconds of the on gang. Dark Knight, when you press the invuln, you get 10 seconds of you can die, and then once it procs, you get 10 seconds of can't die, you know? It's like 2 separate things, so you can't really waste it. That's very nice if you're doing like a Petri, if you're trying to like get a Fortune Petri or a Fortune match site going or something, or like, you know, match site, check chest, etc. Dark Knight can regen its mana out of combat, so you get a little more burst than the other tanks. Can stack up its burst. I'd say on the tanks, specifically on the tanks, stacking up your burst is not really as big of a deal as the DPS, because there's rarely a monster that's it's like you gotta burst it, right? You just want to be fighting non-stop. But it's still nice to mention. I mean, overall, the Blackest Night is I mean, you're gonna use it, but often it doesn't break because you just dodge an attack or something, so you're just gonna accept that it's gonna lose you some DPS there and there. Either way, this is godlike. Tanks are just godlike. Now, Gunbreaker, I have personal bias for Gunbreaker, and this is my least favorite tank. However, it's still a tank. And, like, you know, tank, just the role of being a tank is really strong in MLI. It's just really strong. So Gunbreaker has the worst invuln by far, in my opinion. It's like, I think, a medium cooldown, or maybe it's short, I don't know, but it puts you at 1 HP, and then you do like heal it back up. But you don't have any raw intuition button. You just have your Aurora and your like whatever it's called whenever you're just doing your damage normally, right? Gunbreaker, I mean, really the downside of Gunbreaker is it has nothing unique going with it. Like, it's not like it does crazy good damage compared to the other tanks. It doesn't have anything that makes it special. It's just Like, it's just the... It's the default tank. I guess that's the best way to put it. The only upside of Gunbreaker doesn't really have to do with the fact within the deep dungeon. It's just like, if you want to do Evan high and you have no tanks leveled up, well, you can pick up Gunbreaker and then it's gonna be level 60 and you just have to gain 1 level. That's the only upside, really. But even though this has nothing like setting it above the other tanks, I still think it's godlike. I think all the tanks are godlike. Like you might be saying, oh, but if it's worse than the other tanks, put it in amazing, but like it's not. Like there's no shot I'm picking Machinist or Summoner above Gunbreaker in level high, right? Like I almost feel like there should be a gap between I almost feel like there should be a gap between the tanks and the non-tanks because it's actually that big of a deal. Like it's actually that big of a deal in level high. Like it. If you ask me to clear Summoner or a tank 100 times, I really feel like it's not close. I feel like if you tell me to clear Warrior 100 times or Paladin, I can probably do 90. I don't know, dude. 98 out of 100, assuming I don't die to like a Telegraph, of course. I mean, just like the RNG. But if you told me to clear 100 times on Summoner, like, I don't know, like, I'm sure at least 10 of these runs would have something irredeemable happen out of my control. Either way, we might, I'll see whenever I'm done with the healers if I shift everything down or not. I guess we'll see when we get there. So. But does the 70 Gunbreaker not do better damage? If it does, it's not a significant enough amount for me to like rank it higher. I think that all the tanks are very close to each other's. What about clearing 100 times with guns to my head? Well, if they do that, I'll become a emotionless husk. That won't feel fair anymore. Alright, let's look at the healers. So the healers, it's always where there's the most bias, dude. There's some big healers enjoyers and big healers haters. Alright, healers have sleep like DPS, so that's a pretty similar thing. The thing is though is that they can't really burst as well as DPS. So like usually if you're gonna sleep a monster after your quote-unquote burst, well, it's not really going to like let you burst it after, right? Like if you sleep a monster, it's usually because you're on aggro or because you lost control of the pool in that moment, but then you can regain control after. Like you can't pull a monster that you need steal 4 and then sleep it and be like, oh, I'll kill it after, you know, like it's not how it works. So healers, I would say, there's kind of like a difference between healers that have a shield and healers that don't have a shield. Because if you have a shield, you can prevent a shield that's spammable. You can prevent getting one shot from like some tank buster plus auto combinations. It's also way better for landmines. Now, White Mage is a healer which has actually pretty good damage and it has an actual burst phase too. It's definitely not the damage of a DPS, but it's still higher damage on burst at least than all the other healers, right? It just bursts harder. So that's crazy that Viper is in subpar. They are top tier DPS if you know how to play it. Keep in mind though, we're ranking for Evil and higher specifically, right? We're not ranking for raids or anything like that. This is specifically for soloing deep dungeons. So like White Mage... So the thing with... I guess the way I would describe healers, like overall, is they are like tanks, but bad tanks. You play the healer the same way you would play a tank. However, you just are worse at it because you do a bit less damage and you don't have the HP pool to back up like your... Like even though I technically could survive a fight longer than on a tank, I don't have the HP pool, right? I don't have like the Like health is a resource, right? See that way. Health is a resource, and you don't have a lot of that resource on healer. So like, if, for example, like classic example, if I'm fighting an Necro, if I'm fighting an Necro on warrior and I don't have a steal, it's fine, right? Because I can tank multiple hits, but I can always like if I tank 60% of my HP, well, I can now heal that 60% HP back. Now, if I'm playing white mage and I'm trying to tank the Necro no steal, what's gonna happen is if he crits me once, then attacks me, I'm dead, right? I don't have like any HP to work with, even though I can heal myself. And this is like a massive downside. This makes them significantly worse than tanks. So what do healers do better? Well, they can heal themselves, right? They're kind of like red mage in a way. They're like a shitty red mage almost. They rely on steal. They rely on steal a lot. To do AoE pulls if they're able to, but the thing with Event High is I personally think AoE pulls are like really bad in Event High, in the higher floors. Like even with a steal, it's hard to AoE pull in the higher floors unless you start doing crazy shit, which I think is out of the scope of a clear. And so with all of this said, White Mage is the bursty healer. And I guess the only way I can really rank them properly is just by comparing to other jobs, right? That's the easiest way to rank them. So like, you know, would I run White Mage or Dancer? Like which one would I think I would clear? I think I would be more comfortable doing a White Mage run than a Samurai run. What about Dragoon and Reaper? So because the damage is bad on healer, it's light tank. You have to manage your palms well. However, because it's harder to fight monsters, it's like you can get into a situation where you have to use a commander to fight something rather than use it for time. So it's the same commander management as tank, but then you're like more hungry for commanders too. Like, you tell me to clear Reaper or White Mage, which one? Like, which one am I more likely to clear? I feel like it's better than a melee. But Picto, is it Picto? I think Picto White Mage is, I think that's close. I think that's close, honestly. Red Mage, White Mage, which funnily enough are the opposite. I think I noticed that the last time I did my tier list too. They're the opposite, like, icon. Nice. I mean, they're close, dude. Like, because it's kind of the same problems. Both of them is the same issue where you can heal yourself, but then you'll blow up instantly if you don't have a steal. However, Red Mage does much better damage. So, like, when you think about it, if Red Mage has the same issue but does way better damage, then, you know, why do I rank White Mage so highly? I rank it so highly because if I'm fighting no steal, at least there's no fight I'm gonna lose, right? Like if I'm fighting something that I can fight, and for example, like classic example is that I'm somewhere where I can't kite, I'm more likely to survive as White Mage. But like, would I really say on the same level as Red Mage and Ninja? See, I think yes. I think this is a part, this is where like ease of playing might come into play, because I think at my current skill level, yes, I would prefer White Mage over Reaper and Dragoon. I would maybe prefer it over Red Mage too. I think I would prefer it over Ninja. I think I would prefer White Mage above all of these, but I don't think I can put in Amazing. Like, it's kind of like between Amazing and Very Strong for me. Yeah. But then I think if you consider the fact that this is much harder to pull off than the other jobs, well, it's, you know, a melee is hard to pull off too, but I mean like to play optimally, I would say it's probably Very Strong. Yeah, let's put it there for now, at least. All right, Scholar. Scholar is has great shields, but it's the same issues I was talking about in EO earlier, where it's if you do damage, you can't heal. But then it's even worse in MLI because monsters hit so hard. They hit so hard that you probably don't have to heal. with OGCDs. And so you have to actually decide if you want to sacrifice damage or healing, and you know it's hard to tell sometimes which one's actually gaining you more damage. Single target damage sucks on Scholar too. It's bad. It's real bad. If you get Mimics, this is ultra punishing. Plus you don't have an interrupt on healers too. I mean, its AoE is like Scholar's AoE is good. But then, like what kind of AoEs are you gonna do in the last floors, right? Like, Edge card, like you said, is nice for landmines. But you know something funny about Edge card if you're fighting monsters? Did you know if you have 60% HP and your monster hits you for 60% of your health, Edge card will not proc and you will die? In fact, I died this exact way on 2 monsters. I was fighting a jellyfish and something else. They both crit me or something, and I died 1 shot. But yeah, I mean, it can AoE, but like, you know, what kind of situation would you AoE 81 plus? Like, you would probably AoE a Strength, Steel, Frailty, like 2 or 3 Matangas. Like everything that you're gonna AoE is gonna require a Frailty. It's just not good, dude. This is scope. Like, you know, let's start from the lower side. Like, is it better than Samurai? Absolutely not. Is it better than Monk? I mean, is it the same as Monk? Yeah, I mean, what about Black Mage? Like, am I more likely to clear on Story and Black Mage? I think I am. Dude, the damage is bad. Like, the damage is bad. Because the damage is bad to such a point that you need pickups to clear. Like, you need some luck to clear. But then, to be fair, you also need some luck on Black Mage to clear. Yeah, put a gun to my head. Like, gun to my head, you know? Oops. Like, gun to my head. Would I rather clear Black Mage or Scholar? I mean, let me put it that way. If you've got a gun to my head and I gotta clear Black Mage or Scholar, I better be riding my wheel. But let's start from the above, like, you know, guns in my head. Monk or Scholar? Monk. I think Monk. Yeah. It's there or below. It's there or below. This stream has gotten so violent, yeah. Just imagine my ad revenue on YouTube. It's gonna be 0. What sort of gun are we talking? A water gun. A water gun with lukewarm water. It's a rough one, dude. Like, I think they're about the same. I think they're kind of close to me. I think I'll put both of them in weak. I just don't have anything good to say about Scholar. Sorry for any Scholar enjoyers. Sage is pretty good. It's basically like White Mage, but you don't really burst as hard, but you have like the same damage output. It has a way better shield than White Mage, which actually lets you get away with fighting things that are easier, more easily. Like, for example, I could fight an Nenko on Sage because I can shield every tank buster that comes up. Now, of course, that means I have to know the tank buster cooldown for every monster in the deep dungeon, and the tank buster is never telegraphed. So now, you know, like, suddenly now the difficulty spike is kind of getting a lot higher. It AoE pulls well, but then it's light Scholar where you're just really gonna AoE pull if you got like Frailty Steels to work with. Like, it's same level than White Mage. There's no shot. Well, me, like, it's rough because it's rough, dude. Like, I feel like it's the same as White Mage. I think personally, if you ask me to clear, I think I might be able to clear as often on Sage as Machinist and Summoner. However, I think it's going to be way harder to clear. Because basically, every time I pull a monster, I have to know everything, and I do, right? That's why I'm saying, like, for me, I have to know every monster, every 10 buster, every cooldown of every 10 buster. And then it's every fight's hard because of that. And then I have to pay attention to like the deep dungeon as I'm doing it too. And I have to use my palms effectively while I'm doing it too. Like what does... So I kind of want to put it there. But like what does each healer do there? Like what do they deserve to be in the same tier? White Mage bursts better, right? It bursts better. Its shield definitely sucks compared to Sage. So like if you fight a monster like an Encro on White Mage, you can't really sustain that fight, right? It's gonna kick your ass at some point. AoE is bad. The AoE of White Mage is bad, but I don't really consider the AoE like important personally. I think it's not a big part of my plan. It's almost like White Mage should be between a very strong and good, and Sage should be between amazing and very strong, but we're not making 2 entire goddamn tiers for that. Yeah, we don't have Afflatus Misery in there, unfortunately. I mean, they're close, like if I put White Mage there, Dragoon, like Ninja... Like, would I rather run Ninja or White Mage? Let's put them there for now, both at the same tier. I'll think about it more after I'm done with the change. The change. So Astro sucks ass. I actually ran Astro since they changed it. It got changed pretty heavily in Dawntrail. It's better now. It's way more easy to play too. So it felt really good until 80. And then it felt about the same as it was before, but way easier to play. That Astral's damage is god-awful. Like, you need just many pickups to clear on Astro. That's the thing. Like, you need so many pickups to clear on Astro. The star is annoying as balls too, because it's so big, right? Like, the earthly star is just very annoying. It's very hard to use effectively. The cards, the new defensive cards are very nice for landmines. They're nice if you're doing like an AoE pull too, but an AoE pull later on is hard. Like I did do that Manticore pull, and it was viable. It was a strength steel Manticore. I did 4 Manticores on Astro. It was viable. I don't think it would have been viable on like Sage or White Mage because you're in melee, right? It was viable when I did on my Astro, but it's so unlikely that you can do a pull like that. Like it was just the perfect recipe of like I have a free room and there's like only Manticore patrols. But like either way, like would I say it's the same level as Crawler and Black Mage? No, it can't. It has to be crap, dude. It's crap, right? I'm sorry, but it's crap, and maybe Starter is crap too. It's they're not good, dude. But Astro's bad. Like it's fresh in my mind too, so I do remember. But like disclaimer, it's way easier to play than before. So like you know, because I think what I did before is I put the 2 entire tiers below, right? But I think now it got upgraded to maybe only 1 tier below. So anyway, let's see if the ordering is to my liking. So, do I think all the tanks are godlike? Which, by this, I mean, do I think Paladin's better than Machinist? Let's say a Summoner, because I'm better at Summoner. Do I think Paladin's better than Summoner? Yes. Warrior's better than Summoner? Yes. Dark Knight better than Summoner? Yes. Gunbreaker better than Summoner? Yes. Okay, do I think Machinist and Summoner are about on the same level? I mean, I'm better at Summoner, but I think they are, if you play them well. Maybe if you play them well, Machinist is even a little higher, but he's not godlike tier. Okay, now this is the tier that's like fucked up. I'm not too sure about this stuff there. So Ninja, do I think Ninja's worse than Machinist? Yeah. Do I think it's better than Dragoon? Yeah, I think it is. Better than Reaper? Yeah. Do I think Red Mage and Ninja are close? Would I rather clear Ninja or Red Mage? I think they're very close. Picto. What about Picto? Would I rather clear Red Mage or Picto? I would almost rather clear Red Mage, but like how much more? Like not being able to heal yourself is... and being squishy is such a bad combination, man. Like it's such a bad combination. Just like you burst well, but... yeah, well, I think Picto is like steel. It's like it's just classic DPS, you know, Serenity, Steel, Hungriness. But like, but then you don't have any kiting to make up for it, right? That's the part that I don't like. Like Summoner, I can burst a lot and then kite. Picto, once I burst a lot, I can't kite. Like, would I rather clear Dragoon or... I can't possibly put this on the same level as the melees though, right? Like, there's no way it's better than Reaper. Then it's the same level as these two. Maybe we need another tier to like slap the healers on. Because like now that I look at the healers, let's do with White Mage first. Is White Mage better than the melees? Yes. I think it is. Is it the same as Red Mage and Ninja though? I feel like it needs to be below, between the two almost. But that's a lot of tiers, man. Now I could rank them within the tiers, but I don't want to do that because if I do that, I'll like it'll take forever to do it. If I'm gonna do that, I would rather add another tier. I think Sage, yes. I think Sage, I'm comfortable leaving it there. White Mage, I'm hesitating a bit. I almost feel like White Mage is the only job I want to put between. Let's put it in good. Same as a Dragoon and a Reaper. I mean, it has no shield. Okay, let's put it there for now, even though I think it might be between. So let's see. What about Dragoon and Ninja? We already checked that actually. What about Dragoon and well, that one we already know. Dragoon, Sage. I mean, yes, I would rather play Sage. I would rather play Sage. Samurai and Dragoon. I would rather play Dragoon. Samurai and Reaper. I would rather play Reaper. Samurai, White Mage. I would rather play White Mage. This one, I'm sure. So it's definitely not down there, right? It's there or there. Bard. I mean, there's a lot of range DPS enjoyers in the chat. I mean, but would I rather play Bard than Dragoon? Like, not rather. Do I think I would clear on Bard over Dragoon? It's at least on the same level. At least. Do I think I would clear Bard over Ninja? No, I don't think so. I think it's pretty equal. Why did I give Bard such a bad score already? Because it's low damage and it doesn't kill within its... It can't burst a monster before it starts to move again. But it's kind of like a melee in that case. So, Dancer. I have no love for Dancer. I think it's average. I don't think I would play it like over any of these jobs. Yeah, I think Dancer is fine there. Samurai worse than Bard, yes. Better than Monk, absolutely. Dancer better than Monk, yes. Viper worse than these two, same as Monk. Yeah, same as Monk. Makes sense to me. Yeah. So Black Mage is definitely worse, not even a question. Is it better than Astro? Yes. Scholar is a rough one. Scholar is a tough one. It's like weak. Is it crap? Like it's definitely a bit better than Astro, right? But is it much better? Yeah, I think it's at least a tier above. I think this is fine. The only one I'm unsure about is White Mage. I do think White Mage is a bit worse than Sage. An entire tier? Maybe. You know, if anything, it's these melees are like kinda... But like Dragoon... I know, am I over... Is it Dragoon that I'm overvaluing? Let me look at it. Like Dragoon, why do I think Dragoon is an entire tier above Samurai? Because it has higher tankiness, higher armor, burst is available on command, no need to build it up. It has a jump back, but Samurai has it too. It has a jump in, but it's not really useful. They got rid of the animation locks of Dragoon too since last time I ran it. Well, not since last time because I ran it recently, but they got rid of them. Yeah, the Bloodbath's much better. Well, it's not better, but it's better in combination with the higher defense, right? Like the Bloodbath itself isn't better. Maybe it should be an average, though. I feel like that makes more sense. Like, I definitely think it's a bit better than Samurai, and I'm not ordering within the tiers. But I do think it's a bit better than Samurai, but I don't... Maybe it's not an entire tier above, right? It's still kind of average. Like, how, would I say Dragoon is good in Evil? You know, like, putting it that way. Like, if someone asked me, is Dragoon good in Evil? Would I say yeah? I would probably say it's average. And now that also makes more sense with White Mage. Now I feel more comfortable putting White Mage on the same level as Bard and Reaper. Alright, I'm happy with this. I'm happy with this. This is my MLI tier list. There it is. Feast your eyes. Feast your eyes.